My name is Henry Scott, and I'm a member of Johnny Lynum's REI community and his accelerator program. Just to give you a little bit of background on myself, I am currently in the Army Reserves. I have over 20 years of active service. I'm a full-time project manager, and I transitioned into real estate about a year ago. One of my first NCOs, I came in the Army about 20 years ago. He would tell me he was seeing the things that I was doing prior to me meeting Johnny in the real estate market. And I'm telling y'all, ever since me and Johnny did our first 15-minute consultation, I just saw how motivated he was, intelligent he was in the real estate game, how passionate he was. It kind of matched my energy. I decided to join his accelerator program. And let me not forget Faye Bautista. This is one of Johnny's strategists on his team. Excellent. His whole entire team is excellent, but Faye is awesome. I'm still going through the accelerator program, finishing that up. And at the end of the month, I'll be starting the multifamily cohort, where we're going to be tackling multifamilies together, helping each other out. I came into his program, and instantly, I was able to purchase 2 properties. He helped me through the process of purchasing 2 properties. Now, the REI community initially is free, so you can try it out. A lot of masterminds won't give you the opportunity, by the way, but it's initially free. Starting his accelerator program, the benefits along the way and at the end of your journey is going to far outweigh what you're going to pay up front. And the network that you're going to create is going to far outweigh what you spend. If you're passionate and you really want to get into real estate, just try out the community, REI Genius Community. Just try it out. And I almost can guarantee that once you see how tight-knit we are, you're going to want to come along for the ride. Because I'm telling you, we are on our way to the top. I am a Johnny Lynum surrogate. Proud to say that. He has over a $10 million portfolio, and I'm hoping to be there at some point in the near future, using a lot of his tools that he has graciously provided for me and my partners. And his program has everything from the first step that you should take in acquiring a property to how you can capital raise to get multifamily. So it goes from single family, multifamily, acquiring a property, all the way to the end to how you can finance, capital raise, etc. And like I said, he's going to help you along the path. A lot of masterminds will give you the tools, but it's kind of up to you to figure out how you're going to get there. He's along for the ride every step of the way. So I know I get long-winded. Like I said, I just want y'all to get a clear picture of my experience, what the community represents, and see you in the community.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight, day number 2. We're live in the building, and shout out to you guys. I want to give you guys a shout out for just doing the work, for everybody that jumped in last night, hit the ground running, watching the videos, the introductions, the connections that's being made. That's what this is all about. It warmed my heart just seeing the conversations that's happening, the people that's serious about building wealth, serious about their goals in 2024. And making those connections. So shout out to you guys for being here tonight, showing up for day number 2. And we're ready to get after it tonight and get going. And we're diving into goal setting tonight, which is one of my, I'll say one of my favorites, because for me, and I don't know who said it, but you got to fall in love with the process, the routine, and not necessarily the goal, the end result. Because you're inside the routine, you're inside the process a whole lot longer than you are at the end of the goal. And so that's one of the reasons why I really, really love to kind of focus in on the goal, the process, doing the work, because you're going to be in that journey a whole heck of a lot longer than you are at the top of the mountain once you get there. Because guess what? It's going to take you hours, maybe even days, depending on how high that peak is, how large that goal is. You're going to be in that journey, in that fight for an extended amount of time. So it behooves you to get really, really intimate with the process and love it and learn it, because you're going to be in it. And so everybody that's in tonight, just wanted to say welcome, welcome, welcome. And we're diving into the goal setting. We're going to focus in on how to focus on what's important. There are so many distractions out there today, whether it's the device in your hand, the needs of other people in your household, maybe, the entertainment, your phone, gaming systems, entertainment, sports, you name it. There are so many distractions out there that we have to compete with in order for us to focus. And goal setting allows us to maintain that focus, to maintain that rigor and structure that we need around our lives in order to hit our success target, in order for us to refine that and leverage that success mindset that we built. We got to have those goals to focus that energy, all those positive thoughts. We got to focus those things in on what's most important for us in our life, in our journey, and just and moving in. So we're going to talk about why goal setting, why is that important? We're going to identify what's important, and we're going to walk through and kind of do a drill looking between what's urgent and what's important tasks. Because guess what? I like to say, when we're talking, it's like, hey, we need to kill the closest alligator to the boat. There's multiple alligators out there. There's multiple tasks that need to be done. But which one is closest to the boat today? That's the one we got to give our focus to. Because if we're focusing on the one way over here, the one that's up right here, close in our face, is going to get us. We're going to set SMART goals. We're going to walk through that framework for setting SMART goals. And we're going to go through some different prioritization techniques that you can leverage and dig into a little bit further and see which one that you like. An action plan. And then we're going to jump into some Q&A. Why goal setting? If you're bored with life, you don't get up every morning with a burning desire to do things, you don't have enough goals. Lou Holtz was a famous football coach. And you really think about it, it's like when you wake up, you shouldn't dread waking up. You should be happy and excited for what the day brings, because guess what? There is work to be done. There's goals to accomplish. There's work to be done. So right now, if you guys right now feel like you have that burning desire every day, drop a 1 in the chat. I want to see who has that burning desire to kind of focus in on their goals. Share that with the group. I see we got a few people in here. Okay. Wild Bill here. Good to see you. Yes, yes, yes. Joel in the building. All right. Who else we got in here tonight? I see Christian. We got a 1 in the chat. That's the thing. If you're excited when you wake up, and it's okay if you're not, because it may be something that's working on you temporary, but we're going to work on setting those goals, and we're going to work on putting in that work. Whereas that one, we're waking up, we're excited every day. And I tell the wife, it's like, hey, if I wake up if it's 4:30, 5 o'clock, if I wake up, it's a wrap. That it's like, okay, the day's going, my brain's going. And like, if I got at least 5-6 hours of sleep, my body's like, hey, it's time to go. You got stuff to do, and we got to get after it. So what is the importance of goal setting? Setting goals is not just a task. It's a powerful tool that propels us forward. Goals give us direction, motivation, and a clear sense of purpose. And you got to have that in your life. 1, to enhance time management and productivity, a key skill is distinguishing between tasks that are urgent and truly important. And I kind of alluded to that a little bit earlier, that everything can be the number one task, that there are some things that are more important than others. And the better that you build the skill set of being able to discern what is most important at this time, the better off you're going to be. I get a lot of questions that like, hey, how do you manage it all? They like, you're active duty Air Force, you're lieutenant colonel full time. You're present with your wife, your kids. I see you guys are traveling, you're doing different events. You have your investment company, you're buying apartments all over, 14 hours away. You're buying single family fix and flips. You have your coaching business, you're helping people. It's like, man, how do you fit all this in the day? How do you get it all done? And it comes down to goal setting. And one of the reasons that, I'm able to do it is because I understand what is most important. because a lot of times, most days, everything isn't going to get done. There's a couple things on my list right now that's been on my list for the last 10 days. They're going through my accountant. They were like, hey, I need this from you. I need you to go through and categorize all these different expenses. And I'm like, okay, cool. The challenge is coming up next week. That's most important. I got to be prepared for that. We'll get to the expenses, and we can file an extension. We got to October 24 to file last year's taxes. So I'm like, okay, I can't get to that. That alligator is so far out right now. I got to go through this and get this done. And we'll get to that in a couple of weeks. But you got to understand where you are in the cycle and what's most important. Who are the stakeholders? Who's important? Going through, there could be multiple stakeholders. There could be, if you're a real estate investor, your stakeholder could be your residents. It could be your contractor. They're a stakeholder in the process. Your mortgage company, your bank, the seller owner financed the deal for you. They're a stakeholder. If you have private investors, they're going to be a stakeholder in that process. And your insurance company, your attorneys, all these people could be stakeholders that are involved in this project. And so a lot of times you have to manage in between the project, understand like, okay, who's most important in this process, and understanding where those relationships are and how you fit into the ecosystem of it all. And having that really is truly a skill set that you have to perfect in order to be good at it and continue to get to that process where you know what balls are made out of rubber and that are going to bounce when you let them go, and you know which balls are made out of glass, and if you drop that ball, it's going to break. And so you got to know what is what and how you can navigate those spaces. But the significance of distinguishing tasks, one, it prevents burnout. Because if you're trying to get everything done and you think that, hey, I got to stay up to 2 o'clock in the morning because I got to get all this stuff done, when in actuality, if you just send a quick email and be like, hey, can I get this to you by close of business Friday versus Wednesday? Like, okay, boom, you just bought yourself 3 hours of time. And it allows you to prevent burnout, because burnout is real. Because if you try to go through and there are times you have to surge, you have to work late hours, but you got to maintain that balance and understand where you are. Listen to your body, listen to your spouse when they tell you you're being stupid. You need to take a step back. You're going all in. You need to take a break, and you need to listen to those around you in order to make sure that you prevent burnout from happening, because it's a real thing. But being able to identify those important tasks and having that daily goal. One of the things that I started doing that really helped me was I planned yesterday. So what it is, so I go through, tonight I'm gonna wrap up tonight. Hey, this is what happened with the military. I may jot down something I got to get done tomorrow. This is what happened with this. I need to do this better. And when I go to bed, it's like, okay, I already know what I got to do. So we plan tomorrow today. And so that allows us to win the day. When we wake up, the last thing you want to do is be reactionary all through the day. Like, oh, I didn't plan this at 8:30. I didn't know this was happening. I forgot about this meeting. You want to have control as much as possible. When you wake up and put your feet on the ground, that you already know everything that's most important for that day that you got to get done. And the sooner that you can go through and you can start planning tomorrow today, it's going to give you that confidence. It's going to reduce that stress level, the more that you can have control over that time and keep that balanced approach. Strategic decision making. Not all urgent tasks are essential, and the matrix guides us to prioritization tasks based on their significance, enabling strategic decision making. Because guess what? As the CEO, you can't be always in the details down in the weeds with everything that's going on day to day. And I know as a solo entrepreneur, it can be really, really hard because everything, it focuses in on you. But you got to understand eventually what's a $5 task in my business versus what's a $500 task in the business. And the goal for all of us are to bring team members on that we can pay hourly, that we can pay a salary to, that can take care of the smaller tasks, and where we can focus on the strategic tasks that are going to cost us, that we get higher returns. Whereas that if I'm doing 100 cold calls to potential motivated sellers, that's going to take hours and hours. Whereas that, hey, if I have someone else that can weed through those calls, that's trained, that's probably 80% as good as I am. And once they get someone that says, hey, I'm really motivated. I got a property that I'm going to sell you 60% on the dollar, and I need to sell it next week. Now you step into the picture, and now you can command a project that's going to make you $50,000, $60,000 profit. Those are the type of jobs that you need to, the tasks that you need to be championing. And the more and more that you do that, it allows you to buy your time back by being able to trust and depend on other people. And so it allows you to focus on those strategic decisions that's going to move the needle even further in your business. And goal alignment, last one. Identifying important tasks ensures that our efforts align with our long-term goals, and it keeps us on track rather than being reactive to immediate demands. You got to remain on track. It's so easy to get distracted. We talked about it, but being able to identify those goals each day, document those lessons learned. I have my goal book right here, kind of going through. I set up a new one for the year, going through and just document my goals as we go through. And for me, like the weekends they're iffy. I may not write down my goals over the weekend, but usually during the week when I'm sitting down, it forces me to kind of have the week structure, whereas that I can kind of freelance through the week. Whereas that you got to give yourself some grace, some flexibility. We're not robots, but you got to keep that balance and figure out what works for you in order for you to be successful. Some examples of urgent tasks: meeting a tight deadline, responding to an urgent email or phone call. One of my supervisors that really impacted me as a leader, but then also as how to function in the office, especially, we live and die by PowerPoint and email in the Air Force, for those who don't know. But one of the things that he told me was like, hey, if you can respond to an email in less than 5 minutes, do it. Don't wait. Don't put it off. If something comes in your inbox, you can process and respond real quick and knock it out in less than 5 minutes. Don't put it in the pile. Go ahead, knock it out, get it done, and check that off your to-do list and get it done. So responding to urgent emails, phone calls, handling unexpected issues or crisis. As fires come up, you got to put them out. And the faster that you can do that, you can do it. And a lot of times it's going to push things that, hey, this was important. When I said yesterday, today, and went through my list, this was important. But I wasn't expecting a tornado to come through Panama City last night, and one of our fists got blown down, or a window got blown out. And which that's a true story, because this morning I was getting ready for the gym, 6:45. I got a Bay County alert saying tornado warning and everything going on. And sure enough, at the apartment, the neighbors behind us, their fence got blown down, and we had a window that got busted from the storm. And it happens. It really wasn't a whole lot on my plate to deal with, but I got the call like, hey, we're sending somebody out. I was like, okay, cool. Thanks for the update. And really, I just wanted to make sure that, hey, nothing was broken that was, of significant value, or no roofs got blown off, because it was really bad in certain parts of the city. But stuff happened. Unexpected things happen, and you need to know what's most important. Example of importance: has strategic planning for future projects. If you don't strategic plan today, it's not going to be the end of everything. It's not going to directly affect your revenue for today, tomorrow. But strategic planning for future projects is important. One of the things that we're going to do tonight, you're going to focus in on what are those goals for 2024 and how should you map those out. That's strategic planning. If you don't get it done tonight, it's not going to be the end of the world. It's not an urgent task, but it's something that needs to be done here in the next couple of weeks, next couple of days, preferably, in order to set up the rest of the year and the actions that you're going to take the rest of this year. Invest in time and skill development. This is a big one. I challenge you. One goal should be to at least invest 10 minutes a day in reading something about your skill set that you're trying to hone. The information, whether it's you're getting real estate investing, that's one. You can pick books that you can go through and start reading, but dedicate 10 minutes a day to kind of honing in on whatever it is that you want to be successful at. And think about it, 365 days. And if we'll say those 10 minutes, you read 10 pages. So 365 times 10, at the end of the year, you've read over 3,600 pages. So if you do that 5 years, and that's over 15,000 pages. If you read 15,000 pages, I don't care what it is, then you're going to be a whole heck of a lot smarter than the majority of the public if you dedicate 10 minutes a day reading or 10 pages a day reading for the next 5 years on whatever your topic is. Figure it out. But that's the thing, being purposeful, having those goals and going through. How do you write your goals? What do you write? Oh, I'm going to share that a little bit. That's a great question, Janet, on the goal setting. We're going to kind of lay that out specifically, so you'll kind of have a framework, and then you kind of see if it's something that works for you or how you may want to modify it. Building and maintaining key relationships. That's a big one, because focusing in on the relationships we talked about is not always it's not always how, but who. And so being able to foster those relationships, this is one of the big ones. Why last night I was challenging you, hey, introduce yourself, do the live video, Introduce yourself, share what it is that you need right now, your journey that you're looking for, you may need help with, and then also share a goal, because guess what? There's somebody that watches your video that's in here this week that may have the solution, may have the answer, may have went through that 2 or 3 years ago. They may be in a position where they can directly impact you in a positive way and solve that problem. But guess what? If you don't share that problem, that challenge that you're going through right now, nobody even know that you're having it. Nobody even know that you're looking for a solution for it. So it's so important to kind of put it out. And that's one of the things you always hear me. I'm helping 1,000 people. I'm helping 1,000 people. I'm helping change lives, and I'm putting it out there. And I'm sharing my goals wherever I can. I'm posting a picture of my goals. So if somebody sees like, oh man, I know Johnny. Johnny's cool. Like, hey, I can help you with that. You about to refinance a portfolio? Hey, we got a cool new product we just rolled out of the bank. We would love to earn your business. And then boom, just like that, you got new financing options. So it's things like that. You're just putting it out there in the universe and letting people know what it is that you need so others can step in and help you. So time sensitive, of course, requires immediate attention. Immediate consequences promptly may result, negative consequences if it doesn't get done. So you need to know, hey, what's the impact if I do this? What is the impact if I don't do it? And then, okay, am I willing to live with those consequences by me taking this action? The big thing is you don't want any new I got yous or surprises when you take certain actions with whether or not you get a task done or not. And then aligning with your goals, make sure that it's contributing to your long-term objectives and goals with whatever you're doing, your strategic value, that is going to add significant value to your life, work, and the projects that you're focusing on. And then, of course, you want to have that proactive focus, whereas that you're able to prioritize and be proactive with your mindset and focus on what truly matters. Because at the end of the day, you want to focus on those tasks that's going to move the needle in the right direction to get you to where you want to be successful at. So these are some different methods where you can be, where you can prioritize. You have the ABCD method where you kind of go through, you identify the critical tasks, important tasks, and then tasks that are nice to do, and then those that can be delegated or can be eliminated. It's like somebody's asking you to do something, like, no, I'm not doing that. That's not my job. Sorry. Delete. And you may pick the phone up. You may respond like, hey, yep, that's not my department, wrong department, or you may not. You just got to figure out like how much energy is this going to take for me to have to go and do this. Let's see. Bill here said, are there worksheets for tonight's information? We're going to walk through. I'm going to lay out some of the questions, and then you should have access to the worksheet that's going to actually have where you can fill those in, or you can write them on your own paper to kind of focus in on some of those goals that we're going to set. And we had the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, where approximately 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes. And it's all kind of really focused in on the productivity. Oh, thanks, Faye. Faye just dropped the link in there. For those who don't have it, check the link in the comments right there to get access to the workbook for tonight, to kind of see what we have set up where you can kind of look at that when we get to that section. But it allows you to identify and focus on the most impactful tasks that can lead to more efficient use of time and resources. And then lastly, you got the Moscow method, must-haves, critical elements that are necessary for project success, should-haves, could-haves, and won't-haves. And so it just kind of gives you different ways to box in different tasks in order to identify what's most important and how much time do you want to give to these. Here's a quick video I want to share with you guys about Coach K. So he is one of the most winningest coaches in NCAA basketball, who was the coach for the Duke Blue Devils. And so we're gonna start this and let you guys listen in.
700th victory. 903 is in the books. History is made.
Now is a new milestone.
Mike Krzyzewski has accomplished something that no other NCAA Division I coach ever has. He just capped off the 1,000th victory in an already monumental coaching career.
Coach K's goal was never to become the winningest Division I coach of all time or to reach the 1,000 victory milestone, but goals have played an important role in his Hall of Fame career.
Well, I think goal setting is very important, and as far as achievement goes, individually and collectively. And I think you want high and realistic goals, and you want intermediate goals sometimes to go to a long-reaching goal. For me, all the goals that I try to have are within a season, because you're in the moment, you know. And so I've never looked like, well, I'd like to win X number of ACC championships. You don't do that. I mean, how could you even think that? Or NCAA championships? It's arrogant goal setting. You know, you should be humble and hungry and in the moment with the group that you have. And then I like having goals with that particular unit. Now, I know for my team this year, one of their goals was to win 1,000 games. Yeah, to win that game. Well, I told them, I know that's a goal, but that would mean we have 17 wins. So that's an intermediate goal. You know, like, let's have bigger goals. And then you also set goals in how, for an individual kid on the team, like, I'd like to see this happen for him. And sometimes you sit down with that kid and talk to him about it, and sometimes you don't. You just, with the staff, like, let's try to get him to this spot in a couple of weeks, things like that. But goal setting is huge, and I've done that my whole life.
Let's go. He said he's done that his whole life. So this is the framework we're going to kind of dig in tonight, the SMART framework, because I agree with Coach K, because just like, you know, this is relevant to the workplace or in real estate investing, basketball, for player performance, all that. You can set goals across the board. And the more routine and rigor that we can put in any of these areas of our life, the better off that we're going to be. So kind of setting SMART goals, the SMART acronym. Goals need to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. For whatever goal that you're setting, it needs to check the box in these areas. And we're going to kind of walk through with what each one of these actually means. So going into specificity, what does it mean when we say we want something to be specific? A specific goal has a much greater chance of being accomplished than a general goal. We don't want to just go through and it's like, hey, I want to go on vacation this year. Okay, it's a lot of different places you can go. You want to go one town over. You want to go on the other side of the globe. You want to go during the winter. You want to go skiing. You want to go to the beach. What does that mean? You got to be specific, and you got to focus in on what exactly you want. And so one of the ways that you can get there is going through the 6 W's: what, why, who, where, when, and how. You know, the specific tasks that you want to lay out, understand the purpose, your motivation, who all's going. Is it just you or the family's going? Where do you want to go specifically? The location. When? What time of year do you want to be? You want to go there. And then how are you going to make it happen? Are you going to save money back, you know, each month for the trip? Is it already in savings? Or what's the best strategy? Are you going to drive? Are you going to go there by car? You know, a plane? What is that? What does that look like? And so that's one of the things that you want to go through and understand what is the specificity for that goal to dive in, where you're having specifics laid out on where it is, and it's extremely well defined for everything. And so this can go whether it's relationship, it can go whether it's business, it's investing, whether it's health, fitness related, any specific goal, any goal that you lay out, that you need to go through these 6 W's to kind of lay out the details where you can have extreme clarity on what it is that you're trying to do. So diving into the M, measurable. Establish concrete criteria for measuring progress toward the attainment of each goal you set. Guess what? You can't change something you don't measure. I think that's what we the saying that we have, that if you're not measuring performance, then you can't change it. You can't impact performance. And so if you don't have the metrics, it didn't happen if you're not measuring performance. And so this is one of the things that you want to have and understand is, what are those key metrics? For time, okay, are we talking about something we want to accomplish in days, weeks, hours, years? Well, you know, how soon, how much time are we giving ourselves to hit this goal? What's the specific target? Are we going for, you know, for me, it's like, hey, are we going to have 2 date nights a month? Are we going to have 1? Are we going to have 4? What's the specific target to hit? Are we trying to get 2 multifamily deals this year? Or are we trying to get our first one, maybe just 1 to start with and build off of that? What's the time frame? Are we going to give ourselves a year to do it? Are we going to give ourselves 6 months, 5 years? Or, you know, how regularly are we going to monitor or track? So if we're breaking this down And, and this is one of the conversations I had with one of my NCOs, my non-commissioned officers, a couple years back. This actually, I had left the unit. He had called me out the blue. He's like, hey, sir, I'm leaving, the service in 3 years, and I want to get to about $5,000 of income, passive income. And so I said, cool. I said, so you got 3 years left. We're going to break that down. So you got 3 years to get to 5K. So basically what you're telling me is, you're going to be somewhere around the 1,800 mark, roughly a year that you need to add in passive income. So I said, cool. We're going to be somewhere around there. So, if we're going to call it 1,800 that, and in this market that we could get, back then interest rates were a little bit lower than they are right now, that you could get $400 or $500 passive income after all your expenses with a rental property, a single family home back then. So I said, okay, cool. If you're going to be at 1,800, then you're going to probably need to do about 3 to 4 deals a year. And I think we ended up at around 4 deals a year for those 3 years. So that's going to be 12 homes. So boom, you got to get 4 houses a year. You need to buy 1 house a quarter. So every 3 months, you need to be closing on the deal. So we going through. Now he knows that every 3 months he needs to close on a house. So 6 months in, if he hasn't closed on any houses, then he needs to okay, I need to make some changes with my marketing. I need to ramp things up. We're behind. Or if he's closed 3 deals in only 3 months, then he's ahead of the curve. But being able to monitor and track progress allows you to be that much more purposeful and understanding how you need to course correct in order to hit those goals long term. And then adjust and review. You want to measure your performance, you want to measure your progress, and then as you go, you want to be able to make those adjustments, whether you need to scale back or maybe you need to push a little bit harder in order to make up for missed time and things like that as you go through the process. And I think this is one of the things that I love was like once you set these things in place, it allows you to hold yourself accountable. And then what we like to do within the community, within the accountability groups, is have your peers and everybody else around you hold you accountable as well too. Attainable. When you identify the goals that are most important to you, you begin to figure out ways you can make them come true. Is it realistic? Can you go from 0 to 100 units in 1 year? Yep, you can. Is it realistic? It depends. It depends on how much work. If you're going to dedicate and say, hey, I'm calling 5 commercial brokers each week, and then once I hit the 30-day mark, I'm following up with them every 30 days, and I got a system in place. I'm keeping my spreadsheet. I'm going to go through. I'm dedicating 2 hours on every Tuesday and Thursday to go through, and I'm following up, and I'm letting them know the deals that I'm looking for. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be doing marketing direct to owner at the same time. Then you can do it. And that's the thing that you got to identify is it really attainable? And only you can answer that. And so that's the thing that you got to focus in on is how much work am I going to put into it? What are the tasks associated with it? And once I have this timeline laid out, okay, is it realistically attainable based off of how much time and the commitment that I have? And it all comes down to, looking into the time frame, your resources you have at your disposal, the skill set that you have, and then just the overall circumstances to what is for you is attainable. Because for, different people, it may be a totally different approach and they have access to unlimited resources. And so it's a different conversation and it's a different set of goals for them. And the process to get there is going to be a little bit different. And so that's why the goal process and the goals that everyone has is going to be different. It's going to be personalized for the individual and what they're trying to do and what they're trying to succeed at. For the R, realistic. To be realistic, a goal must represent an objective toward which you are both willing and able to work. Willing and able to work. I can't set a goal for you. If I set a goal for you, you might not reach it. You may not be willing to work as hard for something that I say I want you to do. But that's why you got to have that ownership and you have to set the goals for you. And so a lot of times that we go into situations or, whereas that we're not necessarily the one setting the priorities for our life. And, you go to the job, they say, hey, you got to do this, or I want you to work mid shift, or I want you to work night shift. And it was like, okay, I can't control that. But when you're looking at the goals that you need for your life and what you said, it behooves us to kind of be willing to sit down and write down what it is that we want to see happen in our life. Because if not, then we'll just go through. We're kind of beholden to whatever everybody else is throwing out to us or everybody else's demands and schedules for our life. And next thing you know, we don't know where we are. We don't know how we got there because we didn't really have any realistic goals. We weren't willing to put in the work, and we weren't willing to sit down and actually set what it is that we wanted to do with our lives. And then we just end up with wherever we end up. And that's not what we want to do. So one of the things that we got to understand is, one, the self-belief. We talked about mindset last night. So we already know the self-belief, we don't have that issue here. No one here tonight that's listening in has that self-belief issue, because we all know we have the skills and capabilities to achieve the goal. Similar past experiences. Can you lean on past experiences to know how much commitment is it going to take? How much work is it going to take in order to achieve this goal? Have I been successful in this area? Maybe. And like what I tell a lot of new people that are starting real estate investing is, okay, can we translate your project management skills? You selling real estate, you being a realtor, how can we translate those skills, those negotiation skills, to being able to work direct with sellers, or to work directly with maybe brokers, or having those conversations now with contractors? How can you take those skills that you already have built over the years and now take credit for that? And like, now we just need to translate that into real estate investing. And it's amazing to see the progress that people have when you break it down. Like, you're not really starting from scratch. You got project management experience. You just don't have contract of, you're not managing home renovation projects, but you're managing software development projects or IT projects. And so just being able to kind of lean on those similar past experiences in order to get you to your goal. Conditions and resources, time, money, support, is always goes back to the resources. Being able to identify what needs to happen, what's available, and now how do you bring the two together in order to get there at the finish line in a certain amount of time. So kind of going through, asking yourself these questions will help you become self-aware, leverage your past experiences, and kind of give you a clear understanding of the current situation and your likelihood for success, which is what we're all driving towards. And then the last one is the T. Are they timely? Are they tangible? Goals should be grounded within a time frame. With no time frame tied to it, there's no sense of urgency. And you got to have a sense of urgency when it comes to it. And so I think the more that you kind of focus in and you don't kind of pacify yourself, or you just kind of give yourself an open-ended timeline, you're doing yourself a disservice. And so being able to go through, make sure that you're giving yourself time-bound objectives where you have a clear deadline. Like, hey, I'm giving myself a year to help 1,000 people, or I'm giving myself a year to get my first deal, or I'm dedicating 45 minutes a day to walking, to running, to going to the gym, working out, or whatever it is. But make sure that you have it time-bound in some kind of way. It could be weeks, it could be days, months, hours, just depending on what the nature of the goal is. And then it's tangible. Make sure that it's concrete objectives that you're doing. That, hey, save $500 the next 3 months, lose 5 pounds in the next 6 weeks. Whereas that now you can quantify it and you can put a number on it to kind of help you hold yourself accountable. So we're going to kind of go into this first one, kind of going into the goal setting. I'm gonna ask, anybody got any questions while we're going through? You can drop the questions in the chat. But this one, I want you to kind of think through and take a few minutes to kind of write out one short-term goals, but then also long-term goals. I know it's the beginning of the year going through, so you may not have to think about it too long. So we're going to do about 5-6 minutes, but jot down those top 5 goals that you have to accomplish in the next 6 to 12 months, kind of in the short term. But then also think out 5 to 10 years. What are some of those top long-term goals that you want to have? And then I'm gonna ask you guys to kind of drop in the chat kind of your number one short-term and number one long-term goal after you finish. And we'll go through. So we'll take about 5 minutes. We're gonna call it 8:43 to come back. All right, we got a couple of people dropping in chat. I see Raymond shared here with his short-term goals. Strong relationship with business partners. Reach out to another investor 3 times a week. Asset management skills weekly, 6 hours a week. Okay, I like that. It's a good time frame. Underwriting skills, assess 3 times a day. Buy another house. Okay, awesome. Bill said, get the family move, have a cattle business where it is from pasture to table in 5 years. Nice. Okay. Thanks for sharing, guys. Thank you. Thank you. So that's one of the things that as you go through that, you kind of think through the process of what the goals are, what it looks like, but really going through is like, okay, what is the next level? And so don't be afraid to spend a little bit more time to this. It's definitely worthwhile. It's something that you should kind of get in the habit of going through, writing your goals down, but then also kind of reassessing and things evolve and change. And, you know, when I first started doing this, I can remember when I was deployed in 2018, I wrote my goals down and just going through that process that, you know, I talked about for the relationship goals, business goals. I just hired my first virtual assistant and I wanted to make 100,000 in my fix and flip business. And so that was my goal. You know, it was top of mind. I wrote it down every day and everything I was taking the actions. I was still doing marketing and things along those lines. And it was crazy that, you know, 3 weeks after I got home from my deployment, Hurricane Michael hit and it completely turned our life upside down. Of course, in a bad way. Initially, we were displaced 6 months. My son was born, my youngest son was born 5 days after the hurricane in Mobile, Alabama. And we got back in our house in March of 2019. And, you know, for what I thought, I was going to hit the ground running, start doing more deals. But it got delayed. And, you know, it was a blessing ever since then. We've been doing 10 to 15 houses a year ever since then. And that next year in 2019, we hit that 100, we surpassed that 100K mark. And, you know, that goal had got planted in my soul. It was something that I was documenting. I was dedicated to it. You know, I wanted to be one of the best house flippers in the Panama City, Florida area. It was crazy. In 2020, we were recognized as one of the top 5 buyers in that market alone, right there in the list with Grant Cardone when we bought our first apartment that year. And I'm a true believer in writing your goals down, setting the goals. And if you're faithful to the process, you're showing up, you're taking actions, and you're continuing to refine it and doing what it is that you need to do, that you greatly increase your opportunities for success by being and actually going through this process. So I encourage you guys, definitely take this serious. So we're gonna move on, kind of keep going along. That one of you, as you go through and kind of work out your action plan, you want to kind of set that first short-term goal, but then you want to say, hey, now what are the steps that I need to take to achieve this goal? How do I break that down? Like the conversation I had with my NCO with, okay, he wanted to be at a certain passive income in 3 years, and we kind of broke that down by year, and then we broke it down again by quarter to kind of understand, like, okay, what does that mean to have $5,000 of passive income in 3 years? What's the work that needs to be done? And then we took it a step farther, you know, after the timeline. I was like, okay, in order to get a deal a quarter, now what does your marketing look like? What does that look like in order to get that amount of deal flow to support you to hit your goal? And so now kind of bringing all that together, it's like, okay, well, what type of marketing do you want to do? Are you going to be cold calling brokers? Are you going direct to owner? Or like, okay, how much mail do we need to send weekly in order to get that many deals? Or how many conversations do we need to have before we can get a property under contract? And so now you start walking that timeline back to like, okay, what is this I have to go? And now what are the obstacles that I have to overcome to get there? And then now what's the reward? What's the value? What's the time freedom? When I achieve this goal, am I going to get time back with my family? I can leave this job that's stressing me out. I can volunteer to the nonprofit I want to join, or whatever it is that you want to do on why you're here. We talked about that, your why. And only you can understand why it is that you want to do whatever it is. But once you set that action plan to follow through on your goals, that when it gets hairy, when it gets controversial, that you're going to be able to lean back and like, hey, I'm doing this for a reason. I'm doing this for my kids. I'm doing this for myself because I've never done anything for myself before. And I'm really taking it serious that I'm going to hit this goal and I'm going to make it happen and going through. Jeannie said financial freedom. That's it. That's it. For a lot of people, it is financial freedom. With why they're doing what it is, why they start a small business, why they start investing in real estate, is to get that financial freedom, which ultimately gives you that time freedom, where you're not having to trade your time for money. And now you can focus your time on whatever it is that's most important to you at the end of the day. I want to share with you guys my goals, my top 10 for 2024. Just they're in order of importance as well too. So for me, it was 2 date nights a month. Where we're getting out the house. We got 2 babysitters, so like it's no excuse for that. Quarterly family trips to do 4 trips together with the family. 175 workouts. I want to kind of maintain that cadence. Last year, 2023 was a big one for me to kind of get back into the workout, get back in the gym, to kind of get my health back at a level. I really wasn't completely out of shape or anything like that, but I knew there was a whole nother level I need to get back to for my physical fitness. And so I want to maintain that. On the business side, refinance the Alabama multifamily. That's by far my number one priority. Is getting that done. Met with the PM today, had a really good conversation. They got 3 showings. I think we have right now 20 units that are ready for lease that's been remodeled over the last 2 months. And so we got 3 showings tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. One of the unique things, I hadn't talked to the team, to my clients about that, but what I tried over the holidays, we started running Facebook ads with our vacancy, with the listing for the property management company. So that's been really, really good. I haven't done the ROI on it. I know I've had 61 conversations DM on Facebook with that, but I hadn't looked at the ad spend, and I got to go pull all the metrics on that here soon. But I know it's been less than like $200 that we spent on that, and it's working. So he's got to follow up the PM on, hey, asking people how they find out. I want to know how many people found us on Facebook from the ads. So that's going. It's super excited about that. Helping 1,000 people find success in life. That's this challenge. This is kind of the first step this year of going through that process and what that looks like. Assisting 100 people invest in multifamily this year. That's another one with that goal, and getting the word out there, sharing with people. Whether it's leveraging different platforms like Facebook, where you can kind of put stuff out there, you can advertise. 10 speaking engagement. One thing that I want to do is start, doing more speaking, getting out there, whether it's college level or, different organizations. Brokerages is another one to kind of talk about investing with realtors, because I'm a true believer every real estate agent should be an investor. That it's no excuse that you see investors, and hopefully you're working with investors, but just to learn the investing side of real estate and how it can impact you and your bottom line. And just sharing that. Produce 1 REI Genius live a week. So, being able to go live and just share, consistently showing up for that. Buy another Corvette. That one got delayed. I would have done that one a year ago, but I invested all that in buying a couple more apartment buildings. But I think this time, once we do that refinance, it's a no-brainer. We're gonna go ahead and do that and get that. So I'm excited about that, because you gotta enjoy life. You gotta have fun. You invest for your next generation, your grandkids and all that stuff, but you got to have fun, and you got to live and be a human being at the same time. And then lastly, attend 4 professional development events to continue to grow. And that's a big one for me, because having that goal when I came out, that was one of my goals as well too. The professional development in 2018, when I started writing my goals down and everything. And I tore my ACL in May of 19. So that's a whole nother story. You guys will read that in the book, but we got back after being displaced from the hurricane. And 2 months later, we had got like 3 deals on the contract. We were getting ready to go. And going into the summer, then I tore my ACL, had to have knee surgery. And so I didn't get a chance to go do any professional development events. And so my sister lives in Orlando, and I had just got off the crutches in August. And I found this Jake and Gino multifamily event that was happening in October in Orlando. So we have been doing a lot of work and stuff, the projects and stuff. So it was a good time to like get away, go wind down. And this is my first multifamily event. So I was like, okay, we'll go. I hadn't done any professional development. And that event changed my life. That it just blew my mind about how close we were to be able to go into multifamily. We didn't have to have millions of dollars to buy our first apartment. I didn't have to do it all by myself. And so all these limiting beliefs and misconceptions that I had about investing in multifamily and buying apartments were just shattered. And 45 days later, we submitted our first offer, our first letter of intent on an 18 unit that had been on the market over 90 days in Panama City. And we eventually went under contract a little less than 2 months. And 3 months later, we closed on it. We bought it. And the rest is history. And, going to that professional development event changed my life, hands down, one of the best events. So I tell people, look for those different events. You don't know who you're going to meet, the information that you're going to get that's going to change your life. And I'm a true believer. That's why I'm always trying to get in those different rooms, have those conversations, and just continue to grow and do things just like we're doing, right now today. So that's that. Got one video as we wrap up. I think we got maybe one or two more slides, but I definitely want to share this from Steve. I love Steve. He gets you motivated.
I'm gonna give you two things,
and we're gonna
be through it. They don't have it written down. This is a very, very important piece to success. It's a principle of success. Every wealthy person knows this. I don't know nobody wealthy don't have a vision board. I don't know nobody wealthy don't have their stuff written on a piece of paper. I don't know nobody. I know a lot of people doing good. We have discussed it at great lengths. They've showed me some of their vision boards that I had to go back and change mine. I went, whoa, whoa, whoa. But you gotta have a vision board. It's gotta be written down. You know why? Because that's a scripture too. Habakkuk 2:2. I know where this one at. Habakkuk 2:2. Go home and read that one. It says, write the vision and make it plain so that he who reads it will run to it. And even though it tarry, that means take a long time, wait for it, for surely it will come at an appointed time. Man, I'm telling you real now. What I'm telling you works. This ain't no magic trick. If you up your ass and you write everything you want from God on a piece of paper, now here's the exercise I want you to do. This gonna trip you out. Write everything you want from God on a piece of paper. Be as detailed as you can. Write it down. The object for you is to write down 300 things. Because I know 300 things that you could use. It's gonna be hard for you. When you get to number 75, you're gonna get stuck because your mind isn't conditioned to think way out there. So you're gonna try to stay in your little list. But I want you to just open up your imagination. If you could have anything you wanted, put it on a piece of paper. Anything. How many cars? What kind of car? What color? Where you want your next house to be? Do you want a summer home? Where you want to travel to? How much you want in the bank? How much would you like to have to retire? What you want to leave for your grandkids? How much would you like to give all your siblings? Would you like to one day walk in there and just give all your family a check? Put everything you want on a piece of paper. Do not stop until you have 300 things. It's going to take you a while. I'm telling you, when you get to 75, your brain going to lock up. But keep writing it down. But every morning, read your list. I don't want you watching TV at night. I want you to read your list, unless it's Family Feud. Other than that, No, but seriously, take 5 minutes and read your list every night, every morning. 1 year from today, wait 1 year from today, and take a pen out and go down on your list and check off anything that has happened for you that's on that list. Listen to me. If you do that in faith, if you read your list with the expectation that God is going to do some great things for you, at the end of 1 year, you will be stunned, absolutely stunned at how much stuff comes off that list. I promise you, at least 30 things will be off that list. At minimum, 10% of your list will come true. You know how I know? Because I know a lot of people that done it. But you know how I really know? Because I did it. When I open up my phone, I wish I had it. My phone is my vision board. My phone ain't got a picture, no damn dog on it, no sunset, none of that. All of my computers have my vision board on it. Every iPad, tablet I got, laptop, when I pull it, I have my vision board on it. because that's the signal I'm sending to God that I believe this is what you're going to do for me. I take stuff, I got to get a new vision board now because there's a lot of stuff off that vision board that I put on there a year ago or 2 years ago that then came true. I'm telling you, y'all, this how this works. You have not cause you ask not, and write the vision and make it plain. You do them two things starting today. Write your list, read it every morning, every night. 1 year, check it out, you'll be stunned. I dare you to try that. Watch and see what God do. God keep all his promises. I'm just telling you, thank y'all.
That's it. The vision board, to write down that, a lot of people don't believe in manifestation, but I'm a true believer. It works. It works. And, one of the things I did my vision board, this one here, a couple years back, and it's amazing, how it all plays out. And, so that's something you can do in PowerPoint and go through, and you can download and have it on your phone, your computer. You can hang it up in your office and everything. And so this was the one that I built back in 23, and just kind of, things that were important to me, whether it was the apartments, continuing to grow the net worth, focusing in on wisdom, knowledge, understanding, growing spiritually, mentorship and coaching. It was a big one. Of course, there you go. The Corvette still hanging out there. Travel that was represented with the beach, Paris, the Eiffel Tower is one that my kids want to go back to and experience again. But then just the family, and just being able to kind of understand my why. When I look at that, I'm looking at, hey, this is why I'm doing these things. The apartment syndication and growing in that space, committing to YouTube. That's one we're still working on. And, and then the probate leads and helping people going through challenges with pre-foreclosure. And so represented there with the anvil and the house. So, think about the things that's important to you, lay them out. This is kind of the one that I made for 2024. I updated it. And some of the same things there, since then, created REI Genius, the company there, looking to get more on the speaking side of things, continue to focus on the mentorship, marketing, letting more people know what we're doing, our cause and what our goals are, traveling, apartments, and family. And, and that's really it. And that's kind of the focus. So kind of think through those things and, and keep this stuff top of mind, because if it's really important to you, then it should always be top of mind and not some of the other things that we sometimes get distracted with. So as you go through, think about, for your 2024 vision, develop one SMART goal for each one of these areas that, we're not always just focusing only on wealth, but you need to be thinking about your career, business, personal, family life, health and wellness, spiritual, financial, those areas that we talked about, on, I think it was Sunday when I uploaded the 7 pillars of wealth, that a lot of these areas we go through there, where you talked about the spiritual, pillar of wealth, your soul, the finances, the community, the impact that you have with your health, all that goes in that, where wealth isn't just money, it isn't a dollar figure, that there's so many things that we benefit from, our peace and joy and, happiness and contentment, that you can't put a dollar on these things. We're having positive relationships. So things like that I definitely want you to focus on, not just on the investment side, like we do so many times, but focusing on all these different things that just holistically, that whole person concept that kind of help you out. And then so the action plan, list out your goals, and kind of focus in on what's important. We talked about how to break them down, set deadlines, identify potential obstacles, and always focus on how you can develop solutions to whatever challenges that you're facing. And just remember this, success is an iceberg. A lot of times people just see the top, but below the surface, they don't see the persistence, the failure, the sacrifice, the dedication, the hard work, and all the good habits that we have to build in order to make it happen. So as we wrap up for tonight, that is it. I'll open it up for anybody got any questions or anything. But if not, the homework for tonight, if you didn't introduce yourself last night, go live in the Facebook group, introduce yourself, share a challenge that you may be having, and what your expectation is for this week. And then for day 2, share with you, hey, what's that top goal for yourself that you have right now? If you think about it, share your goal, your biggest takeaway from tonight, and then also comment on somebody's post. Comment on somebody's video, encourage somebody. And as always, if you have met someone new this week, I encourage you to kind of reach out And if you can help somebody, or if you need help, hey, this is the place to do it. We're all family now, whether you know it or not. So we're all locked in. If y'all hang back and you guys got any questions or anything, but I appreciate you, and get ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be awesome. We're going to be talking about multifamily real estate. We're going to be talking about what the wealthy know about investing and talking about different assets, but we're going to dive in on the multifamily side of things, which is something I'm super passionate about, that I love. And so we're going to be talking about wealth tomorrow night. On day 4, we're going to be talking about masterminds, mentoring, and networking. And then day 5, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to talk about what action we take and what it looks like we're taking action in our life and living on purpose. So, yes, doing lives help you grow in your journey, for sure. It gets you comfortable being uncomfortable, and put it out there in the universe, whatever it is that you want. I'm a true believer that it's going to happen. So I encourage you guys to participate, and we're going to have something out there for those that participate each night with a lucky giveaway. We're going to do something on Friday night, so I'm excited about that too. So make sure that you guys stay faithful to the process, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Let's go.